Hey everybody, Josh Peck here. Well, very big news today, and we got to break it down because there's a lot to get into. For a while now, I have been covering the prophecy of the popes from Saint Malachy, who in this it claims to make predictions about every future pope from his time, from the time of Saint Malachy, and on into the future. The final Pope prophecy talks about this figure named Peter the Roman, seemingly being the final Pope. Now, obviously, the announcement of the new Pope was just made, and there hasn't been a lot of time yet to research this fully. However, I do have a lot of things to talk about, and it still brings up this very important question. With a new Pope just elected, has the prophecy of the popes been fulfilled, debunked, or something else? Again, even though there hasn't been a lot of time, I still have found some really interesting things that I want to tell you about this new pope and the prophecy of the popes. So, with that, let's get into it. But before we do that, please subscribe to this channel. Click the bell to turn on all notifications. I do want to make mention, too, for if you're interested in this kind of topic, prophecywatchers.com has an amazing online store where you can find a bunch of videos and books and magazine subscriptions and articles and just lots of things relating to this topic and many other topics, many topics within Christianity that not a lot of churches talk about. So that is prophecywatchers.com. I highly suggest you check that out. If you get any of my books or anything that I do, get it from prophecywatchers.com. Okay, all that said, let's get into this. So, on May 7th, 2025, a papal conclave began in the Vatican's Sistine Chapel to elect a new pope following the death of Pope Francis on April 21st, 2025. Well, today, May 8th, 2025, at the time of this recording, the conclave concluded after 5 ballots over 2 days, with white smoke appearing, signaling the election of the new pope. The new pope, Cardinal Robert Francis Prevost, I don't know exactly how to pronounce that, Prevost, was elected as the 267th pope and chose the papal name Leo XIV. He is the first American pope, as he was born in Chicago, Illinois on September 14th, 1955, making him 69 years old. So let's talk about this name that he picked, the name of Pope Leo the 14th. So Robert Prevost selected Leo the 14th as his name. The choice of the name Leo the 14th honors the legacy of Pope Leo the 13th, known for his social teachings. So Pope Leo the 13th, born, I'm going to butcher this, but I'm going to try, Vincenzo Gioacchino Pecci, on March 2nd, 1810, in Carpenedo Romano, Italy, served as Pope from 1878 to 1903. Elected at 68 after a career as a priest, diplomat, and bishop, he was known for his intellectual rigor, diplomatic skills. Now, as Pope, he navigated a politically turbulent era, addressing challenges like the unification of Italy, which ended the Papal States' temporal power, and tensions with European powers. His papacy focused on restoring the church's moral and intellectual influence. So Leo XIII's most notable contribution was his 1891 encyclical Rerum Novarum, which laid the foundation for modern Catholic social teaching. It critiqued both capitalism and socialism, advocating for workers' rights, fair wages, and private property, while emphasizing charity and justice. He issued 88 encyclicals, covering topics like devotion to the rosary, Thomistic philosophy, excuse me one second, and Christian democracy, aiming to reconcile faith with modern thought. He worked on the Vatican's diplomatic relations, resolving conflicts with Germany, improving ties with France, Russia, and the United States, and mediating international disputes such as between Germany and Spain over the Caroline Islands. Leo XIII promoted education, establishing the Vatican Observatory, and supporting Catholic universities. His 25-year papacy, one of the longest, ended with his death on July 20th, 1903, at age 93. I also thought it would be interesting to give a brief just one-line summary of all of the Pope Leos that came before. So we're on Pope Leo the 14th now. We just talked about Pope Leo the 13th, the one that came right before him. Before that was, and we'll just go real quickly through this, but before that was Leo the 12th from 1823 to 1829. He was a conservative who restored Jesuit influence and apparently opposed liberal reforms. Leo the 11th in 1605 reigned only 27 days, known as the Lightning Pope for his brief papacy. Leo the 10th, 1513 to 1521, was a Medici Pope whose sale of indulgences sparked Martin Luther's Reformation, which is really interesting. Leo the 9th, 1049 to 1054, a reformer who combated simony and enforced clerical celibacy, initiating the Gregorian reforms. Leo the, what would that be, 8th, 963 to 965, a contested pope installed by Emperor Otto I, his legitimacy debated during a papal schism. Leo the 7th, 936 to 939, a reform-minded monk who encouraged monastic renewal under Cluniac influence. Leo the 6th, did I skip one? No, that's right. Leo the 6th, 928, served only 6 months, likely a puppet pope in Rome's chaotic political landscape. Leo the 5th, 903, reigned briefly before being deposed and imprisoned during a turbulent period. Then we have Leo the 4th, 847 to 855, fortified Rome against Saracen attacks, built the Leonine Wall around the Vatican. Leo the 3rd, 795 to 816, crowned Charlemagne as Holy Roman Emperor, solidifying the church's political influence. So that's kind of interesting, the Holy Roman Emperor thing. Leo the 3rd was crowned Charlemagne. Some might say there's a connection there. I don't know, maybe. Leo II, a Sicilian pope who promoted church unity and confirmed the condemnation of monothelitism. And then Leo I, 440 to 461, known as Leo the Great, he strengthened papal authority and persuaded Attila the Hun to spare Rome. So really interesting. The Holy Roman Emperor thing is very interesting for some reasons that we'll get into. But again, that was Leo III, so he took on the name of Leo, Leo the 14th. You know, he took on the name of Leo, obviously. So that's interesting. There might be a connection there, but let's continue. Let's look at a brief history of Robert Prevost. Robert Prevost's background includes a law degree from DePaul University, priestly ordination in 1982 with the Augustinians, we'll get into what that means, and missionary work in Peru. He served as Bishop of Chiclayo, Peru, from 2001 to 2014. After that, he led the dicastery of bishops from 2023, shaping global episcopal appointments. He speaks English, Spanish, and Italian. Apparently, he enjoys cooking and soccer. He described himself as a son of Saint Augustine, an Augustinian, in his first address as Pope. He's the first Augustinian friar and first American to be elected Pope. So that brings up the question, who are the Augustinians? Well, the Augustinians, officially called the Order of St. Augustine, or OSA, they're a Catholic religious order found in 1256, inspired by the teachings of St. Augustine of Hippo, 354 to 430, a key church father. Born in Roman North Africa, interesting, Roman. We'll get into all this because some of this I'm skeptical on, but I promise I'll get to the prophecy of the popes. But this is really good context, and we need this history. Born in Roman North Africa, Augustine himself converted to Christianity at 33, became a bishop, and wrote influential works like Confessions and City of God, emphasizing community, prayer, and service. He also his rule is a guide for communal living, and that shapes Augustinian life, described as focusing on shared faith, humility, and charity. Augustinians live in community, pooling resources and supporting each other like a family. Their mission blends contemplation, so that's prayer and reflection, with active service, such as preaching, teaching, and missionary work. They take vows of poverty, chastity, chastity, and obedience, committing to a life of simplicity and devotion. Today, there's about 2,000 Augustinians that serve in over 40 countries across 6 continents, including the United States, Peru, Nigeria, and the Philippines. Their ministries include parishes, schools, hospitals, and social programs. In the U.S., they run institutions like Villanova University and work in urban parishes. Globally, they serve in many different places, from Amazonian villages to European cities, focusing on education, healthcare, and evangelization. And the order encourages vocations, inviting men to join as friars through a formation process involving theological studies and other things. And this typically lasts about 7 years. Augustinians aim to live Augustine's vision of a, quote, heart aflame, end quote, for God. And this includes serving others with love and humility while fostering community in a divided world. So let's take a look at Pope Leo XIV's political leanings. A lot of people have been curious about it. I was curious about it too. Well, on LGBT issues, while Pope Leo XIV says he views homosexual acts as sinful, he does support pastoral care. So he endorsed Fiducia Supplicans in 2023, which allows non-liturgical blessings for same-sex couples. Regarding women's roles, Leo XIV opposes ordaining women as deacons or priests, which, reinforces traditional church governments, but he supports expanding women's leadership in non-ordained roles, including Pope Francis's efforts to include women in Vatican offices, such as appointing a woman to a major role in 2025. On migrants' rights, Leo XIV is progressive, advocating for so-called compassionate policies. He aligns with Francis's emphasis on welcoming refugees, condemning indifference, and supporting integration, often clashing with U.S. and even European policies. He has a focus on social justice for those viewed as poor and marginalized. Apparently, he was a big supporter of Pope Francis and many of his views, so that's what we have there. Now, Robert Prevost, now Pope Leo XIV, he has some scandals and allegations. So he's facing allegations of mishandling clergy sexual abuse cases during his roles as an Augustinian leader in Illinois from 1998 to 2010, and as a bishop in Chiclayo, Peru from 2014 to 2023. Survivor advocacy groups and Catholic media have raised concerns about his inaction, questioning his approach to addressing clergy abuse as Pope. Now, while leading the Augustinians' Midwest province in Chicago, Prevost is criticized for not removing Reverend Richard McGrath, president of Providence Catholic High School, despite allegations of child sexual abuse and possession of child pornography. A 2024 Chicago Sun-Times report revealed that a $2 million settlement paid to former student Robert Krenkovich, but McGrath's name was omitted from the Augustinians' public list of accused clerics. Prevost never explained why McGrath remained in his role. McGrath was dismissed from the order in May 2025, but Augustinian officials declined to clarify Prevost's knowledge of the case. Also, three sisters in Chiclayo allege that Friar I'm going to butcher this, Eleuterio Vasquez Gonzalez, abused them as minors between 2007 and 2015. They claim Prevost, as a apostolic administrator and later bishop, promised a canonical investigation in 2022, but failed to provide evidence of it. The Diocese of Chiclayo denies a cover-up, stating Prevost suspended Vasquez and sent the case to the Vatican's Dicastery for the Doctrine of the Faith in July 2022. However, the victims insist no investigative decree exists, and Vasquez has continued celebrating Mass. Lastly, the Survivors Network of Those Abused by Priests, or SNAP, filed a Vos Estis Lux Mundi, I'm sure I'm pronouncing that wrong, but filed this complaint in Rome on April 30th, 2025, accusing Prevost of obstructing investigations in Chicago and Chiclayo. Snap criticized his election as Pope, claiming it disregards survivors. The complaint, reported by Crux, also names 6 cardinals, but emphasizes Prevost's role as prefect of the dicastery of bishops from 2023 to 2025, which oversees negligent investigations. Obviously, anybody that's involved in covering any of this up or not investigating, not doing what they're supposed to be doing in these circumstances, that's obviously awful. These are children that are being hurt, and if there was anything like that going on, that's absolutely terrible. Now, as promised, let's in case you don't know, let's look at just a brief recap of what the prophecy of the popes is, because you might be brand new to this. So, and I won't get, many of you already know, so I'm not, this is going to be really brief. The prophecy of the popes, attributed to Saint Malachy in the 12th century, is a series of 112 cryptic Latin phrases, supposedly predicting the popes from Celestine II in 1143 to the end of the papacy. Each phrase symbolically describes a pope's characteristics, origin, or reign. Published in 1595, its authenticity is debated, with some believing it's real and some scholars believing it is a 16th century forgery. The prophecy suggests the final pope, Peter the Roman, will lead during a time of tribulation, possibly signaling the end of the church or the world. The last prophecy concerning the final pope reads as this, quote, "In the final persecution of the Holy Roman Church there will sit Peter the Roman, who will pasture his sheep in many tribulations, and when these things are finished, the city of 7 hills will be destroyed, and the dreadful judge will judge his people." The end. So let's take a brief look at some of the evidence. Let's examine some of the evidence here and see if Pope Leo XIV has any connections to the title Peter the Roman. Now, obviously, we mentioned briefly, because he picked the name Leo, and Leo III crowned Charlemagne as Holy Roman Emperor. There might be, somebody might say, well, there's the Roman part, there's the connection. But again, we got to deal with the Peter part too. So yes, there's a connection to Roman there. But that was Leo III, so he took the name Leo. But there have been 13 other Leos before him. Somebody could say, well, you look hard enough, you're gonna find any kind of connection there. But again, the Holy Roman Emperor thing, Charlemagne, that maybe that's something. I'd love to know what you think, obviously, and with all this, I would love to know what you think. Leave comments in the comment section and let me know. So that, to me, while that's not like very strong, I mean, it could be a fulfillment. It's not super strong. That's probably the strongest evidence, but let's look at some of this other stuff, and then I'm going to give my own verdict and what I think about it. So let's take a brief look at some of the evidence, see if Pope Leo XIV has any connections to the title Peter the Roman. So we already said the Charlemagne thing. Now, some have said that the Peter in Peter the Roman only refers to the fact that he is Pope and supposedly carries on the tradition since the Apostle Peter, because Catholics believe Peter was the first Pope. But it's already a prophecy of the Pope, so while it's possible that all Peter means in the prophecy, that's all it means, it seems really convenient, kind of, doesn't it? It seems like there would be a stronger connection than that, but okay, maybe. Pope Leo XIII, the Pope Leo before Robert Prevost, was born in Carpeneto Romano, Italy. But again, it seems like a stretch to say that has anything to do with a fulfillment of the name Peter the Roman with this Pope, the 14th. Pope Leo XIV is an Augustinian, meaning he follows the teachings of Saint Augustine of Hippo, which was in Roman North Africa. Now, while that's technically a connection to Rome, I again think it's a big reach to say that fulfills the Roman part of Peter the Roman, in my personal opinion. Pope Leo XIV is an American. the first American to be elected pope. There are connections between ancient Rome and modern America. And obviously, in Saint Malachy's time, 1094 to 1148, 1148, America didn't exist. So possibly because of the close ties between America and Rome, and there are a lot, maybe the description of Roman for Peter was selected because the word America wasn't in use for the land at that time. But again, that still seems like a bit of a stretch, doesn't it? There isn't like a solid smoking gun. Now, following with that American connection, I've heard some point out, Daniel 7:2 reads this. Daniel spoke, saying, I saw in my vision by night, and behold, the four winds of heaven were stirring up the great sea, and four great beasts came up from the sea, each different from the other. The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I watched till its wings were plucked off, and it was lifted up from the earth and made to stand on 2 feet like a man, and a man's heart was given to it. So here, some have interpreted this to be referring to America. And if it is, this would be like the only place that America is even in the Bible, possibly. There's a couple other maybe references, I believe in Ezekiel and stuff. But anyway, so what they say is that the lion represents Great Britain and that the eagle's wings represent America. And they claim that the wings being removed from the lion represents the origin and founding of America. Not everybody holds to that interpretation, but some do. So some people have said, well, the word Leo means lion in Latin, and he picked Leo as his name. Now, some may say that there's a loose connection here to this prophecy and to Robert Prevost because he took on the name Leo. The idea is that Rome connects to America, fulfilling the Roman part of the prophecy, and the fact that he chose Leo as his name reinforces it. However, in that interpretation of Daniel 7:2-4, the lion, or Leo, would represent Great Britain, not America. So if there was a connection here, he should have picked the name Aquila, which that actually means eagle in Latin, if it was referring to America, if the eagle was. So I don't think that this idea bears any weight, personally. So I'll give you my kind of verdict here. It's like, yeah, there are some possible really loose connections that you could maybe say fulfills it, but the only way that I could see this prophecy actually working for this new pope is if Peter, in Peter the Roman, just means pope, and Roman actually means America, or maybe possibly connecting back to the Charlemagne thing. The Holy Roman Emperor, empire. That's kind of interesting. Now, and all of that on the surface, that might seem like it technically works, but I have to admit, it does seem a little weak. I mean, after all, many countries have ties to ancient Rome. The new pope. So if you're trying to say because he's an American that fulfills the Roman part, well, the new pope could have been from almost anywhere, and it would probably be pretty easy to find a loose tie to Rome sometime in history. Also, this only works if Peter just calls back to the idea that the Apostle Peter was the first pope, because I cannot find any other connection to the name Peter with this new pope, with Leo XIV. I haven't been able to find anything. Peter's not in his name anywhere. It's not. I can't find it. Maybe somebody else has an idea, but from what I've been able to look into, I don't see any connection there. So for this to work, then again, this only works if Peter, in Peter the Roman, only calls back to the idea that the Apostle Peter was the first pope, so every pope is Peter. But again, if that was the case, why mention the name Peter in the prophecy at all? I mean, after all, none of the other pope prophecies include the name Peter, yet if this was the meaning, then it would apply to all of them. It would apply to every single pope. So that being the case, why would it only be mentioned in the last one? Maybe it's because it is the last one and it's just kind of closing the circle. The papacy both starts and ends with a Peter in the Catholic view with this interpretation. But the problem is, this interpretation would mean that there is nothing in the final prophecy that is specific and unique to Pope Leo XIV. The name Peter would apply to every pope, and Rome has ties with many countries throughout history, as its cultural, legal, and political systems have shaped the modern world. Now, while it's difficult to pinpoint an exact number, like how many countries Rome has influenced, it's difficult to pinpoint an exact number due to how empires often expanded over time. It's reasonable to say that the Roman Empire's footprint can be found in at least 50 modern day countries, and these include countries in Europe, North Africa, and the Middle East. Now, all of that being said, while I have a lot of respect for all the amazing research done in the past with this prophecy, with the prophecy of the popes, I don't, at least right now, I don't have a lot of confidence in saying that Pope Leo XIV fulfills the Peter the Roman prophecy. Now, of course, I am still very early on in my research into this new pope, so it's possible that new evidence could come out that shows a clear fulfillment of the prophecy of the popes, and of course, if it does, I will report on it. However, with the information currently available, I just have to be honest with you, I don't see a strong case for Pope Leo XIV fulfilling the prophecy of Peter the Roman. And so what does that mean? Well, given clear biblical standards, even if every single other prophecy of the past popes was correct, and this was the only one that was wrong, then that's not 100% prophecy, and we shouldn't give it credence. As Bible-believing Christians, we cannot accept anything less than 100% accurate prophecy. That's what the Lord demands from us. Now, I could have gone on here, and I could have made a video, and I could have really focused on these kind of loose connections, and I could have hyped them up to mean more than what they probably mean, and I probably would have caused the video to get a lot more views and stuff. But that's not what I'm here to do. I'm in ministry. I'm here to minister. I'm here to teach, and I have to teach truth as far as I can see it. I can't. I don't want to embellish something, and if there isn't a strong smoking gun, then and I don't see one at all. I mean, yes, there's technically ways that Peter the Roman could that title could be attributed to this new pope, but you could say that about any pope, literally anyone they could have picked. You could say that. Peter just means pope, and Roman. There's a lot of Roman influences all over the place. So there's not anything, in my opinion, that's unique enough to Robert Prevost. There's not anything in the prophecy unique enough that connects him with this. And so if it's wrong, then it's wrong. Then it is. Then I again, like I said, it's still very early on in research. Something might come out in the next few days or a couple weeks, or who knows, that might make me lean in the other direction. But as of right now, with the limited information that we have available, I'm not seeing a fulfillment. I'm just not. And again, that's not to discredit anybody else's work. That's not to show any disrespect to anybody else's work or anything like that. It's really not. I just have to be honest with you guys and give you truthful information. So again, with that, I am absolutely open to any new information, and I want to make note too. I don't like have a preference one way or another, if this, like a personal preference, if this prophecy is real or not. Like, I don't have a dog in that fight. If it turns out to not be true, I'm okay with that. I just want to know the truth of any matter, and I think we should all have that. Would it be exciting if this turned out to be true, and if this new pope absolutely absolutely nails this prophecy and fulfills this prophecy in a really clear way? Yeah, that would be super exciting. Because if this prophecy is true, then this would be the last pope. So yeah, that would be great. But again, if it's not actually happening, if it's not really a fulfillment, even if it's not a strong fulfillment, or I can't bring myself to say that it is when it likely isn't. So at least with what we know now. But again, I am open to any new information that comes out, and if any does, you can be sure that I will report on it here. If you have an idea, theory, or if you have more information that I may have missed about this, please feel free to let me know. especially if you have new information. If you think that there is a fulfillment here and there's something that I've missed, email me, joshpeckdisclosure@gmail.com. I'd be happy to read your email and look at your evidence, and if it's valid, if it's true, I'll report on it here. Or you can just leave me a comment on any of my social media. But I would love to get a conversation going around this. So please leave a comment in this video. Let me know what you think. Let each other know what you think. Talk about it. Discuss. I think, as Christians, especially online, we should always be active, commenting, sharing videos with friends and family, all of that kind of stuff. Not only does it help the person who makes the video, not only that, but it brings us more together as a community of Christians online, and the internet really needs more Christianity, doesn't it? I mean, it's a disgusting, vile place in a lot of areas. So the more that we can contribute and get our message out there, put out there what the Lord lays on our heart, the better. So I would highly encourage you all to do that. Make sure to check out all the links in the description below. There's a lot of really great stuff. Thank you all so much, and yeah, we'll stay on this story if anything new develops, and that's why it's a good